Here's what's happening now. We are fresh out of record highs in this week's forecast, but I think you're going to like where temperatures go, and we'll start talking rain chances coming up. Karen?
Also backstage at the Oscars, where Emma Stone adds fuel to the fire in the biggest Oscar mix-up in Hollywood history. Climate of fear, a new bomb threat at a Jewish center in Metro Detroit leads to an evacuation. Up first, breaking news, a Takata guilty plea. We are in federal court for the newest developments in a deadly airbag scandal. First at 4 starts now.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. We start with breaking news from federal court in downtown Detroit. The airbag manufacturer Takata has just pled guilty to fraud in the airbag scandal that has killed at least 16 people. Our Rod Maloney has been in court all day long and joins us now from outside of the court. Rod, what's the latest?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, Karen. Right now, we are in the process of awaiting a sentencing for the Takata airbag scandal. They have pled guilty. Mr. Nomura from Takata, Japan, has come in and has admitted that the company committed wire fraud, that they deceived pretty much everybody up and down within the company. They deceived automakers. They deceived their customers. They admit to that, and they have also agreed to at least $1 billion, make that B with a billion, for their fines and restitution, most of the restitution going to auto manufacturers. And now the judge, and it just started about 10-15 minutes ago, the judge started taking under consideration what the sentence will be for the automaker. In so doing, a couple of attorneys have gotten up, and in fact a delay, because this was supposed to start at 1:30, but they've been delayed most of the afternoon because a couple of civil attorneys are in objecting to this sentencing and this plea deal, because the government is saying that they're good with Takata and all of that. The civil attorneys are saying what the plea deal does is that it cuts TK Holdings, which is the American arm of Takata, and the company that's in Auburn Hills that they claim is the origin of all of these problems, and that it exonerates them from any kind of prosecution. And so therefore their civil law cases will go away. And so as it stands right now, the judge is hearing from those attorneys and trying to make a determination about what he's going to do about sentencing. One of the other things I would note about this is that Takata as a company will cease to exist shortly after this guilty plea is accepted and the sentencing handed down, because they have agreed to sell whatever assets of the company, and the new owners will actually take over the obligation of what was Takata Corporation. We'll go back inside, we'll get more, we'll have the full update coming up on Local 4 News at 5. Reporting live downtown, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Rod. We're also following breaking news here in Detroit, where 2 women have been arrested in connection with the death of a 17-year-old student from Garden City High School. The teenage student was walking with a friend near Plymouth and Myers on Friday when 2 people in an SUV pulled up and shot him. The 17-year-old was killed. His friend was unarmed. Now police say they've arrested 2 women in connection with the shooting. No word yet on any charges. The all clear has been given at the Hebrew Day School in Ann Arbor after a bomb threat. Police say the school received a bomb threat just after 9 this morning. The building was immediately evacuated. The threat comes as bomb threats hit 11 Jewish community centers all across the country today. Bomb dogs searched the school before the all clear was given around 12:30. At this time, police are working with the FBI to find out who called in that threat. A Warren police officer is in stable condition right now after shooting himself in the leg during training. The 47-year-old detective was reportedly holstering his gun when he accidentally shot himself in the thigh. The deputy police commissioner says they're trying to figure out how the gun fired as the detective recovers from his injuries. Meantime, the officer is expected to be okay. A retired Detroit police officer is in custody right now after police believe he fired off more than 20 rounds and tried to drive drunk. Around 3:30 this morning, Detroit police were called to the area of Southfield and Grand River after reports of someone firing an automatic rifle. When officers arrived, they watched the former DPD officer get in his car and try to get away, but he was promptly arrested. And neighbors tell Local 4 they're not that surprised.
He's not very social, and when he does come out, he just says crazy stuff. It's just crazy stuff.
After the arrest, police searched the home and found dozens of guns, faulty grenades, and a grenade launcher. At this time, the former officer remains in custody as police continue to investigate. We are enjoying a little sunshine in today's first forecast, but our luck could run out tomorrow. Let's send it over to Ben Bailey and see what's in store. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Karen. Yeah, still looking like spring, at least in the forecast, despite the fact that we don't have any 60s to talk about. Numbers still running above average by about 10 degrees, upper 40s out there right now. Some noticeable south and southwest winds. Once we get into later tonight, we should remain dry until very early tomorrow morning. That's going to be a chance of showers and maybe a couple rumbles of thunder. We do have thunderstorms in the forecast for late Tuesday. We'll talk about the timing of that. And believe it or not, we are not snow free in the 7-day forecast. Some cooler weather is ahead. We'll look at that coming up. Karen?
President Trump today offered some previews of tomorrow night's address to Congress and the American people. Meeting with governors at the White House, the president said he plans to announce an increase in defense spending. Sources say the defense budget could rise by 10%. The president said many programs will face cuts, but infrastructure spending will also increase in his upcoming budget.
I'm going to have a big statement tomorrow night on infrastructure. We spend $6 trillion in the Middle East, and we have potholes all over our highways and our roads. I have a friend who's in the trucking business. He said, my trucks are destroyed going from New York to Los Angeles. They're destroyed.
The president will address Congress and the nation tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 9. You can watch it here on Local 4 or on clickondetroit.com. First at 4, we're also tracking stories making news all around the world. Heavy rains are pounding South America during the normally dry summer months, and the rain is causing some dangerous floods and mudslides you see here. At least 3 people are dead, another 7 missing in Chile. The rain's causing rivers to overflow their banks near the capital of Santiago. Drinking water for more than 1 million households has been affected, and the rains are making repairs really difficult. Also today, taxi drivers caused some traffic chaos in Australia. Local media says the drivers drove in a slow convoy from Melbourne's airport to the state parliament. They're protesting a plan to toss out taxi licensing and regulate Uber. Some taxi drivers fear financial ruin because they say they won't get enough compensation for their licenses, which have been very valuable in the past. If you didn't see the Oscars last night, you certainly have heard about the big mistake that happened during the biggest award of the night. Devin Scillian joins us now with reaction. This is what everyone is talking about today, and is there an explanation?
Well, Karen, the big mix-up is really still under investigation. This moment is what people, though, are going to be talking about for years to come. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway announcing La La Land as Best Picture, only to realize it was a mistake. The confusion leading to an Academy Award whodunit and a piece of Oscar history that will never be forgotten.
Looking back, you might have guessed something wasn't quite right.
And the Academy Award
Most people thought Warren Beatty was pausing for dramatic effect. Faye Dunaway jumped in.
La La Land.
But the celebration would last less than 2 minutes. As stage managers scurried on stage, a producer of La La Land set things right.
There's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture.
The crowd inside the auditorium, viewers at home, and the director of Moonlight all stunned.
I was speechless when the result was altered because I've watched the Academy Awards. I've never seen that happen before.
Immediately, questions started about what went wrong. It became clear Warren Beatty opened an envelope with the Best Actress winner, Emma Stone from La La Land, inside. But how did that envelope end up in his hands?
But we are so excited for Moonlight. I think it's one of the best films of all time. So I was pretty beside myself. I also was holding my Best Actress in a Leading Role card that entire time. So whatever story, I don't mean to start stuff, but whatever story that was, I had that card.
The accounting firm of PricewaterhouseCoopers released an apology saying, in part, "We are currently investigating how this could have happened and deeply regret that this occurred."
I will say to all you people, please write this down. The folks from La La Land were so gracious. I can't imagine being in their position and having to do that.
Now, La La Land was still the big winner of the night. If there was one, 6 awards. Moonlight won 3, including, of course, the biggest, Best Picture. Really difficult situation here, but you had 2 representatives from Price Waterhouse, one on each side of the stage. Each of them has a set of the cards. So there actually are 2 cards.
So that explains Emma Stone had her cards and she won, but there was that other card that was, in a sense, floating
But you feel bad for so many people. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway left holding the bag. Horrible. La La Land, awful situation. And Moonlight didn't really get their just
didn't get that big
moment.
ta-da.
Yeah.
They felt almost punked at the same time.
What a mess.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Devin. Still ahead, a reality TV star announced he's recovering from a heart attack, and fans are really surprised. That story is trending right now. Also ahead, comedian Bill Cosby goes to court to change how his jury is selected in his sexual assault case. We have the judge's ruling. Kimberly.
Hi, Karen. We're talking weed in today's Good Health, but this is not your dad's marijuana. Why doctors are beefing up warnings for teens. And if you're looking for an excuse to drink more coffee, we've got that too. It's all coming up in Good Health.
Inside. Coming up all new on Local 4 News at 5 and 6.
A father of 4 is facing deportation, and now support in his community of Ann Arbor is growing. We speak to a family friend who describes this family's struggle to stay in the U.S.
In Good Health today, as many states race to legalize marijuana, doctors are pointing out significant risks. Kimberly Gill joins us with that part of the story.
Yeah, so Karen, the American Academy of Pediatrics is particularly concerned about children and teenagers in this report. So one of their big concerns is marijuana, and it has grown much more potent in recent years. The amount of THC in marijuana plants has jumped from 4% to 12%. THC, if you don't know, is the active ingredient in marijuana, and studies show 17% of people who start smoking pot during adolescence become addicted. So doctors say the drug can harm the lungs and impair judgment and concentration, especially behind the wheel. So this is not the same marijuana that your dad or somebody else smoked, so be much more careful.
You also have a story about coffee lovers, and I kind of was excited when I read this.
You're kind of giddy about this. You're a coffee lover. Yeah, we're talking about an unexpected benefit from that morning cup of coffee, and we kind of go back and forth on this. It seems like every so often we hear a report, it's good for you, it's not good for you, it's good for you again. So research suggests that regular coffee drinkers might be able to slow elements of the aging process, so that's wonderful news. Doctors found that older people who had less inflammation had reported drinking more caffeinated beverages. Inflammation can cause a host of problems as we age, so the less inflammation you have, of course, is better. But remember that drinking too much coffee can still have drawbacks as well, such as headaches and abnormal heartbeats. So you want to be aware that, what coffee does to your body, and adding too much sugar, too much cream is never good. So they say the best thing to do is just drink it black filtered coffee. That's no fun, I know.
I have coffee with my cream is basically what I do.
That's what you do. A lot of people do.
All right, thanks, Kim. All right, let's go back to Ben for an update on the forecast. And it was definitely a sunshiny day out there, and we were able to enjoy that good weather.
We sure were, Karen. Temperatures right around 50 degrees outside right now. Not a whole lot in the way of sunshine. We've got some clouds starting to move in from the south, but as far as moisture goes, there's not a whole lot showing up on radar right now. We may get a couple sprinkles in here as we get into the evening hours, but by far most of us are going to spend the nighttime hours dry. It's tomorrow that we'll start seeing a better chance of rain and possibly some thunderstorms to go with it. Let's look at our forecast map as we go through the rest of tonight. And again, just a couple sprinkles possible. Most of this is going to be clouds and dry conditions. Then as we get into tomorrow morning during the morning commute, that's when we'll see a round of rain. Could be some rumbles of thunder in here, but primarily this is going to be rain. It'll be out of here before lunchtime. Then we get a dry middle part of the day. Tuesday in the evening, especially as we get into the overnight hours, showers and some thunderstorms start arriving. And you can tell just by looking at this, these are going to be a little bit stronger than what we see in the morning. There is a marginal risk for severe weather down here in our south zone. Most of us do not have that, but nevertheless, these are going to be thunderstorms overnight that will be out of here by the time we get into very early parts of Wednesday morning. Still some rain lingering around midweek, and then the cold air chasing it around. You can see here that rain snow line just off to our north in the afternoon. Could see some flakes to finish out the day on Wednesday. 36 tonight for the overnight low, mostly cloudy. It will be milder than average. And then high temperatures tomorrow, well, they're going to be getting into the 50s in the afternoon, but we'll probably see our actual high temperatures happen just before those thunderstorms roll in closer to midnight, 11 o'clock midnight, and we'll see these numbers upper 50s, close to 60 degrees in our metro zone. South zone will be very similar, upper 50s, but probably some 60s down here towards the state line. West zone high temperatures, again, this is going to be about 11 o'clock or midnight tomorrow. They'll be in the mid 50s, and in our north zone, not too much further from that. Temperatures generally in the mid 50s there as we finish out the day. So forecast into the next 7 days will take us into the 50s again as we get into Wednesday, but temperatures going to be cooling down considerably Thursday and Friday, highs only in the 30s, starting to recover a little bit as we get into Saturday and Sunday, and some morning snow showers to start the weekend. So we'll keep our eyes on that thunderstorm threat Tuesday night as we get into the next 24 hours, and then that's going to linger into early parts of Wednesday morning. Karen?
All right, thank you, Ben. Many of you might be counting down the minutes until Paczki Day, but do you know how much exercise it actually takes to work off just one? Well, here's a hint. It's a lot of sit-ups. Up first, though, a partial victory for Bill Cosby in court, a judge's new ruling in the comedian's sex assault case. Embattled comedian Bill Cosby left a Pennsylvania courthouse today after his attorneys won a partial victory in a pretrial hearing in Cosby's sexual assault case. He's charged with assaulting a woman in his home in 2004. His attorneys wanted the trial moved out of suburban Philadelphia. A judge denied that motion, but agreed to have the jury brought in from elsewhere in Pennsylvania. Cosby's trial is set to begin in June. All right, let's talk about today's trending stories. A lot of people are talking about fitness trainer Bob Harper having a heart attack. Harper is the host of NBC's The Biggest Loser. TMZ reports the 51-year-old had a heart attack 2 weeks ago while working out at a gym in New York. A doctor working out nearby saved his life. Harper is recovering and says the heart attack is all genetics. In this case, his mother actually died from a heart attack. Technology comes to continue to change the fast food industry. Wendy's says it will install self-ordering kiosks at 1,000 locations by the end of the year. The Columbus Dispatch says a typical restaurant would have about 3 kiosks. The change is targeting younger customers and reducing labor costs. Wendy's has been testing the kiosks in several Ohio locations.
In the drive-thru too, or is this just inside?
It's just inside at this point. That would just, don't you get frustrated on the checkout thing at the grocery store? Or is that just me?
Yeah, and then you got to call somebody.
And then I'm always calling somebody, and I'm just going to get people upset.
Would have been easier to have somebody there.
I know, exactly. Oh, one of my favorite days, Ben, tomorrow, Paczki Day. We hate to spoil the fun, though. Our friends over at Blue Cross Blue Shield want to caution you about all those calories. One Paczki is about 500 to 1,000 calories. Registered dietitian Grace DeRocha says to work that off, get this, you would need to run 7 to 10 miles, or about the distance from the Fisher Building to the Detroit Zoo in Royal Oak. You could do 2 hours of Zumba or 7,000 sit-ups.
They call it Fat Tuesday for a reason.
I had one of those on Friday.
They're good.
They were good, but boy, it did. Like, I gained like 2 pounds.
It's
like right away. It's right there. Well, anyway, if you've decided to throw caution and calories to the wind, maybe you'll try one of these. Detroit American Coney is offering this new twist. It's called the Coney Paczki. It's a pastry that's filled with a hot dog, the onions and mustard. That could be 2 great tastes that go great together or not. We're not really sure how many calories are in this creation. Still ahead. Watch out, Tony the Tiger. There is a new mascot looking to be the king of the jungle. We've got the story behind this new character next.
He's a popular and highly paid boss at one of the state's biggest nonprofit organizations.
I'm proud to say it recognizes one of the better state municipal leagues in the country.
But now the executive director of the Michigan Municipal League has come under fire, accused of bad behavior. The list of complaints against him goes on and on. Claims of crude emails, rude comments, alleged harassment. But are they valid? The board is backing up their boss. So who's making these claims and what does it mean for this organization? The Defenders, tonight at 11.
Finally, first at 4, the 2018 Winter Olympics. less than a year away. So to build up the hype for the event, a new promotional video featuring the game's mascot has hit the web.
Yep, say hello to Su Harang. That is the 2018 Olympics official mascot. Now he's a white tiger, which is traditionally a sacred guardian in South Korea.
As you can see, the video shows the tigers participating in all of the events, which you can watch starting next February right here on NBC. Cute mascot.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy. Thanks so much for joining us for First at 4. We are back in a half hour with Local 4 News at 5. Inside Edition is next.